Oh, you want to share with the class?
No, because it's not appropriate.
You're saying that you had a thought that wasn't appropriate.
I had an inappropriate
for a guitar
thought.
podcast.
Yeah.
You had an inappropriate thought for a guitar podcast.
That's correct.
And you're not going to share it.
I'm not going to share it. Maybe I'll share it later in the episode.
All right. Gonna make me wait.
Ham.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steven. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. What are you doing?
Whatever I want. It's my microphone.
That's fair. If you work with a microphone company and you want Ryan to smash his head into your microphones, send us an email at 60cyclehumcast@gmail.com.
Hey, sure. We'll try out your microphones. Why not?
See how well they hold up to a little head banging.
What if we could sound so much better or so much worse? You know, let's try stuff out.
Yep.
Okay.
This first ad was sent by Paul Blaine.
Yeah. Has Paul ever sent one before, Steve? Use your memory.
I think he has.
Okay.
I recognize the name from somewhere. The Milani Guitar's Thorn model is a meticulously handcrafted instrument made in Vancouver, British Columbia. This guitar contains many desired features, such as a coil-splitting humbucker paired with Bourne's Pro Audio volume control for precise gain control from 1 through 10 through your favorite tube amp. Japanese Goto tuners, shallow strap locks, 24 frets, and set next construction allow unrestricted access to both octaves. So no matter the style of music you wish to create, nothing holds you back. A hand-picked maple neck with an eastern maple and sapele winged body ensure that resonance does not pass straight through. Rather, it stays within the denser wood for a more open sound. Is that how that works?
Okay, now let's get to the important stuff.
Above all else, this guitar was directly inspired by the guitar played by the character Thorn in the 1999 Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost film. It was an intense process using my experience as a guitar builder to make this comfortable, practical, and spectacular playing instrument, being that it is originally fictional and no real version of it exists anywhere. Thank you for your interest. Feel free to message if you have any questions.
So, are you familiar at all with the Hex Girl, Steve?
No.
So the Hex...
I probably watched this in like 1999 and never again.
Sure. In more modern versions of Scooby-Doo, there's these side characters. They're a girl band.
Okay.
And they're kind of gothy.
Like more modern than this 1999 film. Are they
starting at the 1999
but they
film.
recur
They're
after that.
reoccurring characters over the last 25 years.
Okay.
And they're a fan favorite. Like, believe it or not, there's a lot of Scooby-Doo fans out there. Modern Scooby-Doo fans of the modern stuff. And you wouldn't believe when I Googled this guitar and the Hex Girls, because I was familiar with them because my kids watched that era of Scooby-Doo, and I sat watching with them. I was like, oh wow, I didn't know they were making new Scooby-Doo.
So you were like, I want to know more about this.
So I tried to Google it, and you wouldn't believe the fan art.
Ryan, if you Googled, did you Google Rule 34 Hex Girls?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Ryan uses a browser called Rule 34
I think I've got the safe search turned on, and it still is like, I could tell, like, if I didn't have the safe search turned on, that things would probably be getting squirrely on my Googles.
It's actually a reverse safe search.
Also,
it only searches Rule 34.
What I did see a lot is a lot of like recreations of this cartoon guitar for cosplaying. So non-functional versions of this guitar. Right. And I was looking for just like cartoon screenshots of the guitar, and there was so much fan art, I was having trouble telling what was fan art and what was from the shows. But I think they did an exceptional job.
Yeah.
Capturing. Yeah. Well, first of all, the team over there at Scooby-Doo, Hanna-Barbera, or is it WB now who owns Scooby-Doo? I don't know.
I have no idea.
First of all, they did an excellent job designing a cartoon guitar that can actually be a guitar. Like, it's close enough that, like, yeah, that shape can totally exist as a guitar. Sometimes you see cartoon guitars that are just, like, so wonky, it's like, oh, who would ever? But this looks like whoever designed this cartoon guitar actually kind of cares about guitar. Like, it has a Telecaster bridge plate on it. It has a 3x3 headstock. It looks like everything is functionally ergonomic for a stage guitar.
The difference is the one in the cartoon doesn't have any pickups.
I think the pickups are implied within the Telecaster bridge plate.
I think it's a piezo.
But it also doesn't have frets, Steve. We're talking about Scooby-Doo here. There's only so many lines they're going to draw.
Maybe it's a fretless guitar.
Well, in this shot, it's got a fret marker. Not fret markers, but inlays.
Some of them, they do have frets. So we'll say
it's an animation.
She's just playing so damn fast that you can't actually see the frets. You can't see the frets
because she's playing so fast. But now having paid a compliment to the animators.
Okay.
The person who made this guitar did an excellent job.
Yeah, it's a good recreation.
Recreation? You mean a recreation?
That too. I've seen recreations of the Marceline bass from Adventure Time, and a lot of times they are not nearly as good as this.
Right. This isn't 100% the same, but either is the illustrated guitar.
Sure.
Because it's animated, and so it changes from frame to frame. Like, I think they did an excellent job here capturing the soul of this. And, based on the amount of fan art I was seeing on the internet, I have a feeling there's a market for this. They want $2,000 for this. You get the right eyes on this, someone's going to pay it.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion anyways. And they're going to use it in their cosplay when they go to Comic-Con or whatever.
I'm trying to figure out who this brand is, Milani Guitars. It kind of talks about it as if it's a legitimate operation. I'm not seeing. Oh, it's right there.
You found it.
Right in freaking.
It is legitimate. It's got a website and everything.
But this is a classical guitar. So I don't know who this guy is. This is in Italy, so this is definitely a different guy.
I bet there's a dozen guitar makers with that name.
With the same name. Yeah.
And there's one that just never registered their name, and they're like, damn it, everyone else trademarked my name.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look too hard for it, but like the guy basically talks about being kind of a small time, and he's asking $2,000 for it.
Yeah,
it's Canadian $2,000, so that's maybe what, 1,500 US
freedom bucks.
Yeah.
That feels more sarcastic than ever.
So
Yank bucks.
So I think that there's a legitimate element to this.
Yank bucks feels a lot more correct now. We got to go back to Yank bucks. The Yank buck system is a strong system.
Yank bucks is what you spend to get access to the premium Rule 34 sites.
Oh gosh, come on. All right. I do have to admit, when I first saw this guitar, it didn't immediately jog my memory of the Hex Girls. I thought it was like a weird attempt at a Batman and Robin guitar.
It kind of looks like that.
Because there's a black bat and then there's like a red upside down bat. Is that meant to be like a Robin
So
thing?
Did you just figure it out from reading the listing? Like I have
once I read the listing a little bit and I saw Scooby-Doo, I was like, oh, gotcha. It's the Hex Girls. They're not real vampires or witches. They're just a band.
I got nothing, dude. I have only the vaguest memory of this.
Who's your favorite Scooby-Doo?
My favorite Scooby-Doo?
That's such a weird question.
You know what, dude? People I feel like it's like the hated one. But I really like is it the New Adventures of Scooby-Doo?
Oh, you're going by the series.
Like the early night? Like
I thought I was asking about characters or monsters or villains or something.
No, I'm saying I like the 90s one.
The one with the pop punk
The
thing?
one with Scrappy Doo that everyone hates.
Oh, you like Scrappy Doo?
I don't
Scooby-Doo.
I like that era of Scooby-Doo.
All right.
And then before that, like the 60s stuff.
Yeah, classics. Classic Scooby-Doo.
Classic is, it's like Star Trek. Like classic Star Trek is always going to have a very warm place in every Star Trek fan's heart.
They did a modern one that was actually very good and very funny.
Oh, yeah.
And very kind of aimed at knowing they had a more adult audience. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the Mindy one.
You know what my favorite Scooby-Doo is?
What's your favorite Scooby-Doo, Steve?
Jabberjaw.
Jabberjaw. That's the shark.
That's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show.
Is it in the same universe? It feels like it's in the same universe.
It's all in the same universe.
Is Scooby-Doo in the same universe as the Archies?
If it could happen, then it would definitely would. Like they're in the same universe as Kiss.
Do you remember Speed Buggy?
Yeah.
Speed Buggy was sick. freaking crime fighting, crime solving, mystery solving dune buggy.
Yeah. You know, when you see one of those dune buggies in real life, is the nostalgia hits hard on that.
You know, when you see one of those dune buggies in real life, you're probably like, that guy does meth.
That's a meth mobile. No, when I see one of those dune buggies, I assume someone's out solving crimes and mysteries and stuff.
I sure hope so.
Yeah. And they have a friend that's a giant shark.
Yeah. And they have a friend who's always hungry. We don't know why.
I mean, don't we all? What cartoon guitar do you guys want to see come into real life? There, we've ended the topic.
Yeah.
We've ended this ad. Yeah.
Good job. Brian.
Are there any fans of the Hex Girls in the audience?
Yeah, leave us a comment.
Show Steve your fan art.
Send it to 60cyclehomecast@gmail.com. Maybe it'll end up on a future episode, but probably not. He doesn't
want to see your etchings of a Pregante Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, so just don't.
What? What does... Okay. Speaking of whatever you just said, this episode's brought to you by Chase Bliss.
Oh my gosh. I always forget that you do the sponsors after I say something awful.
Yeah.
And then I always say something awful, then you just go for it.
I don't know what's going on with Chase Bliss right now, which is why I'm so glad I'm on their mailing list.
Right. You'll find out next time something's going on because you're on the mailing list. So am I.
Actually,
are we on our joint email address. That's right. We share.
The thing that people found out about if they were on the mailing list was the second batch of the brothers, which I think just shipped out pretty recently. I don't know if there's going to be a third batch, but if you want to know, you got to head on over to chasebliss.com, sign up.
You know what they should come out with?
Mailing list.
Chase Bliss should come out with the sisters. And you won't find out if they come out with the sisters unless you're on the email list. So get on it.
What do you think what kind of pedal do you think the sisters would be?
Well, the brothers is double overdrives, distortion, and boost. So sisters could be double fuzz.
Double fuzz.
Because there's no fuzz on there?
Muff.
Bender.
What's the third one?
Still also
fuzz
face.
Boost.
Or an Octavia. Muff, Bender, Octavia.
No, the center switch instead of being the
Muff,
Beano,
Bender, and Fox.
Instead of the center switch being like the Beano boost thing, the treble boost, that's your octave switch.
Octave.
It's only active on channel 1. So it's doing that thing again.
Yeah.
It just did the thing, but the timer's still going.
Let me check it real quick. We're having camera issues. We're back and we're still in the middle of a Chase Bliss sponsorship.
Was that the end of the Chase Bliss sponsorship?
I think so. Tell us about the next sponsor, Steve.
This episode is also brought to you all by Reverb.com.
That's right.
Do you have anything up on Reverb right now, Ryan?
Not right now, but I've got a gigantic pile of pedals that I need to list and sell eventually soon. Like the longer I wait, the bigger the pile gets. And then what I like to do is like to sell everything all at once. So it's like I spend a week going to the post office instead of having to go twice a week, for the rest of my life.
I have, my wife's favorite band. One of my favorite bands right now is the Beths. And they have one song that I think has a whammy on it.
Okay.
So I've been thinking I need to get a whammy. And I realized that the way for me basically to get a free whammy is to take pedals that I already have and sell them on Reverb.com and then use that money to buy something else on Reverb.com.
It's gear math, huh?
Doing a little bit of gear math.
So
just trying to work through that, trying to decide what I'm going to sell. And then I'm probably going to have I think I'm going to chase that mono neon whammy.
So you're going to sell some stuff and you're going to get the mono neon. That's your plan.
I think I'm going to have to sell 4 pedals, 5 pedals to do it.
Are you actually going to do it, or are you just going to buy the mono neon and keep all the pedals?
I really want to sell some pedals.
You should probably sell some pedals, Steve.
Yeah. I have some thoughts on which pedals I feel like I can sell, and the problem is I don't have a lot of pedals that I feel like I can sell.
You're a collector. You have a collector's mindset.
I know.
You buy things because this is a special thing from this seller.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why can't I sell anything? It's because you only buy special things that you assign an intrinsic attachment to before you even play it, and you don't even take them out of the box. They're like Funko Pops for you.
Kind of. Dude, yeah. No, it's true. Don't be like me. Go sell your pedals on Reverb.com.
Sell your pedals on Reverb. Jeez, don't be like Steve. We're just collecting stuff.
Ryan.
At least I do demos of all the stuff that I get.
Ryan, this week's big gear news.
Big gear news this week, Steve. Do you? Here's my question.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you care at all?
I mean, I'm glad that people have jobs in 2025.
Sure. Yeah,
I think that's good.
Yeah. But it's neat that there's a thing that people can buy, and they will be able to continue to buy it.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it, and then I'm gonna say a thing that maybe will be funny, and maybe it won't. Maybe RJ will use it as a clip, and maybe it won't be good enough because I've been told that we haven't been very good at providing clips.
So sorry, RJ. We'll try to do our job better for you.
So here's what I'm gonna say. Here's the whole thing, and then we'll get into it. This past week or so, Thomann, the world's apparently biggest guitar dealer or music store. I think
their claim to fame is that they're the world's biggest guitar store because their actual physical store at their location actually does go on forever. It started with a little shop. It was like a shop where you bought trumpets or whatever. It was like a little shack.
Yeah.
Like 15 by 20 or something like that. And then they just added another building on top of it to expand it. And then they added 3 buildings on top of that to expand it.
Right.
And then every time they add a building, it becomes a bigger building. So you walk in the front and the whole thing just kind of expands out into the countryside into bigger and bigger buildings.
It is weird to look at on Google Maps.
Right.
So Thomann, the world's largest music store, apparently bought, the first part is apparently, and the second part not so much, they bought Hughes and Kettner.
Right.
And the reason why I find this weird is because I didn't know Hughes and Kettner existed anymore. And the reason, and the reason that that's weird is this is the second time that I thought Hughes and Kettner didn't exist anymore. Because Hughes and Kettner was like this very high-end, cool looking brand in the early 2000s when I first started getting into guitar. And then
it was too rich for your blood when you were a teenager.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they kind of just dwindled off and I stopped seeing them in magazines. And then a few years ago, the Tubemeister stuff came out and they were super big again. And then people stopped talking about the Tubemeister stuff and it just kind of seems like they ebb and flow way harder than any other brand that I know of.
And it seems like because they used to be a solidly an amp brand, here's some amp heads with the blue plexi black shining thing, and then didn't they do a collab with Line 6 or something like that, or was that someone else?
That's Bogner.
That was Bogner. But it was always my impression of Hughes and Kettner, because I saw them around when I was a teenager learning to play guitar and stuff, and they were definitely outside my price range. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm probably going to buy a bunch of stuff, not just one amplifier. That's what it looked like to me. My impression of Hughes and Kettner during that time is that this is an amp for a dude that drinks wine. This is a wine drinker's amp.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought of them as being probably way too hard rock for me.
Really? Your impression was that they were super duper hard rock. Well, I knew that they were they make high gain sounds. I know you can make a high gain sound with a Hughes and Kettner, and they had a lot of. They were kind of like a proto Rev.
That's probably a really fair comparison.
The current Rev is old Hughes and Kettner, and then maybe if I was a teenager right now, I would look at Rev and have my own wine drinkers metaphor for them or thing to say about them.
But in the early I guess in the early 2000s, Hughes and Kettner did have a few lower price solid state amps.
Rev is for IPA drinkers.
Yeah.
Where Hughes and Kettner is for wine drinkers.
Why is it IPA drinkers?
It's a little spicy,
So I'm looking at Hughes and Kettner stuff at Guitar Center, and a lot of them are price dropped. But Hughes and Kettner Triumph Mark III is $4,400. So that's what I'm thinking of when I think of classic Hughes and Kettner. I think the Tubemeister stuff is all in the $800 to $1,000 range, which is more accessible for. In fact, here's a Tubemeister 18 for $340. I guess it's used a lot. Maybe this is all used. But yeah, that's definitely, like I said, like I don't think of Hughes and Kettner. Hughes and Kettner, I think of as like a high end single batch malt bourbon kind of brand.
Wow, you think about them much higher than
because I think of them as like
I think of them as like, oh, this is a brand for people who they want to spend more money and they have very particular tastes. But I don't think of them as boutique. Like I think of them as a factory guitar.
Is the issue here? This is the question I have. Is the issue with our perception of Hughes and Kettner just the fact that they are a German company that kind of feels like almost like Ashdown, where Ashdown has never stopped being a company. They just stopped sending stuff to the United States.
Okay.
And I wonder, like, does Hughes and Kettner, send a boat over like once every 5 years full of amps, and they're like, yeah, North America, here's your allotment of amps for the next few years.
You get.
Like,
I wish I could do that in a German accent.
And
it
so
would be funnier.
Then it just feels like, the thing is, they just fall. It feels like they fell off. But maybe they're
my personal impressions of Hughes and Kettner was all defined from when I was a teen. Before I knew that they were a German company, right. I had no idea that they were a German company until I started going to Germany to visit Henning. I was like, oh, I didn't realize these guys were local out here.
Why is it called Hughes and Kettner? The founders are Hans and Lothar. Why aren't they called Hans and Lothar?
Michael Kelly guitars.
Yeah, that guy's that's not. There's no Michael Kelly.
There is Michael and Kelly. The guitar brand is named after two different people.
But that makes sense.
But they're not partners or owners of the company.
So who are Hughes and Kettner? Like, there's no explanation.
It could be their pets. It could be named after their dogs. I don't know. Or it's just like, it's like Harley Benton. They were like, let's make a name that the Americans will buy,
Reference number 1 on the Hughes and Kettner Wikipedia is a GAC article.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know.
Are we ever going to be a reference on a Wikipedia?
Probably not.
We'll never be on the Wikipedias.
Apparently we need to write articles. Then we can be
Is that what it takes?
Yeah.
You should do it.
I don't have time.
Back in the day, when Emily was just a viewer before she had her own media empire to manage, we would say, like, let's hire Emily to write articles.
Yeah.
And we'll have like a blog. And we didn't have the budget then.
Yeah.
You want to spin into the Patreon spot right now?
No, that's later.
But we definitely didn't have the budget back then. If we had back then the budget that we have now, and that we were like hiring RJ and stuff like that, we might even have some more wiggle room to do some other stuff. Maybe we should hire a writer.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have another cast member.
I'm
saying that like we probably do not have the budget.
I don't think we do.
Aren't writers supposed to be, Emily, aren't writers supposed to be super cheap? Can we just get them on Fiverr?
Are you trying to get punched?
Emily, feel free to punch me next time. But that's really, here, everyone that I know that's a writer complains all the time about how little you get paid doing it.
You mean how much they get lowballed by people?
Right. Everyone wants it for free. And I wouldn't say we want it for free. I mean, I want to pay you in pedals. But only if it goes viral.
So the thing about Hughes and Kettner is I in my head, I want to compare them to brands like Engel.
Right.
Or like, is it Koch? Coke. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
It's these other German amp brands, but a brand like Engel, I don't think about them for years. And then they pop up again. And I never think to myself, didn't Engel go out of business? Because they, in my head, are just a European brand. Right. They don't really come to the United States that often. Whereas, again, Hughes and Kettner kind of feels like they make a big push and then they retreat. They make a big push and then they retreat. It's like I was saying about Ashdown. You could find, when I was first looking into buying bass gear in, the early 2000s, there was a ton of Ashdown stuff. I owned an Ashdown 2x10 for a while.
I remember it. And you would stack it with a 1x15, right?
And then I traded it for my Telecaster. for all those Telecaster parts.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
That was so long ago. Like 20 years ago.
But the point being is like Ashdown was a brand here, and they were in, I think, the Guitar Center catalog or the Musician's Friend catalog. And then they kind of just dwindled down and disappeared. And I didn't really look into it. I just figured Ashdown went out of business.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
They're still out there.
They just were like, you know what? Like we don't have the presence or the finances or whatever to maintain presence in the US market or maybe the North American market. So we're going to focus on our UK presence and probably our European presence. And then we're going to hire Joe Branton.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Yeah. So if you're a European company that wants to break into the North American market, maybe you should talk to us about it.
Yeah. Apparently Steve knows how to do it.
Definitely don't.
Right. Oh, you're saying that you want to be the Joe Branton.
I'm saying I want you to be the Joe Branton.
You want me to be Joe Branton?
Yeah.
Ah, man, I don't think I can drink that much.
You need a mustache.
I have a mustache.
Well, you got to not have the beard though. You can only have the mustache.
Oh, man. All right, if I got to do it, I got to do it, I guess. Do we think that this will be good for Hughes and Kettner?
Well, according to the internet,
all right.
Anytime a brand gets bought out by private equity, it's so private equity can strip them for parts and fuck them up the ass. So buy Hughes and Kettner, you're screwed, according to the internet.
Clearly, Thomann is not in the business of not selling product. Like I have a feeling they are going to probably make more Hughes and Kettner amps than
I'm sure they want
in a really long time.
I'm sure they want to, and if they're smart,
it's going to be their house brand.
Yeah, if they're smart, it'll be their house brand. Right. They will basically do again, if I'm doing it, if I'm thinking about it, then they're a house brand. They are going to have a long leash and basically an allowance of, hey, maybe you had a $10 million budget last year and it's not really getting you where you need to go in terms of market saturation. So we're going to give you $20 million. And yeah, you're going to have to get it back. You're going to have to pay it back. But the goal is, to use Thomann's capital position and finances to rebuild Hughes and Kettner strategically and get the brand up and running in a strong way.
You really have a lot of business thinking going on in you. I understand some of that,
Yeah, it's just like if you're bigger and it's thinking long term.
Oh, totally. No, I think the Hughes and Kettner brand, I think they'll be in safe hands.
Yeah.
I think they're in very stable hands that have a very long-term outlook and a very long-term plan for their house brands and for their operations over there.
I guess what I don't know is what are Thomann's other house brands?
Harley Benton.
Harley Benton's been like blowing up.
Right,
but that's like a true house brand. That's not an acquisition.
But look at the work they've put into it.
Yeah,
they've really thrown their back into that house brand. They're probably looking at the same sort of thing. They've tried to do Harley Benton amps and Harley Benton effects, and they've just been rebadged like mono prices and Joyo pedals, that sort of situation, where this can be a true house brand. Where it's like, you want Hughes and Kettner, you got to buy it from Thomann. Like maybe they'll have models that are super affordable. So it'll be kind of like have the effect of being a loss leader, where it's like, oh man, Hughes and Kettner has this amazing 40-watt amp that's, it's priced so that, everyday people can have a gigging amp sort of thing. Like maybe something like that. And I'd think that the thing that Hughes and Kettner fans would probably be worried about is losing the potential for the high end gear. Cause I don't see Thomann going like, we've made, this production line of 3 different lines of Hughes and Kettner amps, like a desktop 1-watt sort of hybrid thing, a 30-40 watt sort of thing, and then like an 80-100 watt sort of thing, but they're all factory produced, kind of like just consumer grade. I don't see them going the boutique route and having here's our $4,000 head.
I think they kind of have to keep that going though.
You think so?
But again, like
But I don't think Hughes and Kettner, maybe I haven't stayed up on it. Like the last I heard was when I was last time out at Germany, and it sounded like Hughes and Kettner was leaning into these little kind of like modern powered versions of high watt tube amps. Like,
I mean, I'm looking at their website. They still have the Triumph. They have the Grandmeister. So I think the Grandmeister is like $2,000.
All right.
The Triumph is that $4,000 amp.
Maybe my impression is just way off. That looks like more stuff than I remember them having last time I looked at their.
These little like Spirit of amps, I think, are a little too joyo-y, to be honest.
It really has been since the last time that I was at Henning's house, which was 4 years ago, that I have even thought about Hughes and Kettner existing.
Yeah. The way that I think about this Hughes and Kettner, and I would say I think they have to keep the high end stuff. And maybe that's I don't think
they do.
You don't think they do?
I don't think they do.
I think that's the bread and butter of their brand.
I don't know.
I think that's like Marshall saying we're not going to make a JCM a Plexi anymore.
We'll see.
Like imagine if whoever the overlords of Marshall are now were like, no, just you're only going to make Origin series amps and valve states and MGs. Do they still make the MG? I don't know. I think you got to have something. You got to like,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Because it's the whole thing of like the whole reason Fender sells a front man is because you buy the front man and hopefully someday you buy a Princeton.
Right. And then you buy a deluxe
or whatever.
And then you buy
a twin reverb. And then you buy the Jack White amp. And then you buy the super limited edition Bassman. And then you buy
all the same amps again, but in different Tolex.
Yeah.
And then you end up with two Princetons.
Yeah. Ryan, you got anything else to say about this topic?
I wish them all the best. I hope it works out for all the parties involved.
Yeah.
I definitely, I'm glad to find out that a beloved brand, a well-known brand, has not disappeared.
Yeah.
That it will continue on, and that, it has a bright future potentially. Like if I was going to trust a brand to a retailer, like Thoman's a good one to trust them to in my observation anyways. Maybe they'll let us all down. I don't know. What does the audience think? Do you have fond memories? Do you have a nostalgia for Hughes and Kettner, or are you like us where we just kind of really don't care?
I mean, honestly, I that's my biggest question. And I actually thought if I could find some time, which I clearly I haven't, was to just do this as a standalone topic. I didn't think we were going to talk about this on the show. I was thinking about just doing a standalone, like 7-minute video to be like, who the hell even is Hughes and Kettner? Because I don't understand the brand. So I would love to see that in the comments. Like if you're a Hughes and Kettner fan, I'd love to hear more. Cause I honestly, I know that I've heard about them a lot in different places, but they're just not in the front of my mind.
Sure.
Except,
I think it's also like, they're typically used for different styles of music than we listen to.
For sure.
So it's not really in our neighborhood.
They're like
same as Engel,
they're like two big
or Angle
sponsors, or like their names that are on the Wikipedia that they mentioned were, where were they? Alex Lifeson and Tommy Thayer. But Alex Lifeson is now with whoever makes his amps. I'm not sure who makes the Alex Lifeson amps. That whole brand that he just launched at NAMM.
Sure.
Already forgot. Tommy Thayer's the guy from Kiss, which we all know. I know nothing about the band Kiss. So
I know they're the kings of the nighttime world.
What?
That's a whole song by Kiss about them being the kings of the nighttime world.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And Kiss has also been on Scooby-Doo.
That's probably the most I know about Kiss.
Yeah.
But I preferred the Harlem Globetrotters episode personally.
That was a good one. I liked it when they were running through the doors and it was like, and they bumped into each other and like, whoa. It was a good bit.
Right when you did that, whoa, there was like a vroom vroom going by.
Yeah, it's probably another spaceship, right?
Yeah.
Right, Steve?
That's right. It's weird.
Yeah, another spaceship out
Why
there.
are these spaceships like keep buzzing the capsule?
We're in a shipping route. We have to spin by the shipping route to pick up stuff. And I got a lot of stuff recently. I got a lot of stuff to demo. And
you do.
Oh, it's bad. I'm hitting that place where I'm starting to look at my calendar and like, I'm going to have to start telling brands no through the summer because I don't want to overbook myself. I want to enjoy my summer. I don't want to do 3 demos a week. Is that too crazy?
That's too
crazy.
It's too crazy. Ryan, this next ad was sent by Joey Scar.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Gibson Custom Shop 50th Anniversary Karina Tribute Les Paul. I already forgot what VOS stands for. Vintage.
We did one last week, didn't we?
Vintage.
VOS.
Old. It's not old stock.
Vintage original stock?
Vintage original stock? Is that what it is? Very, very old stuff.
Very old stuff works. This is a Gibson very old stuff.
Why am I trying to
last week we covered.
I'm distracting myself.
Okay, last week we covered that LP Junior that just had a neck pickup.
Yeah.
Which was stupid and
This
bonkers.
is the opposite of that.
This is the opposite of that.
This is a 2008. They won $11,000 for this in Brooklyn, New York. Here's a really great Gibson custom shop model, the 50th anniversary Karina Tribute! Exclamation point. This Les Paul's from a 2008 limited run. So the last one was made to measure, which is like a custom order basically. And this is custom shop. Features a split headstock. I haven't seen that yet. The guitar has a Karina body, top and neck, rosewood fretboard, unbound, not even ebony. How dare you?
Come on. For 10 grand, should be made out of gold.
Kluson tuners, stop tailpiece, ABR1 bridge, 3 humbuckers, and a Switchmaster selector, which gives you each pickup individually or all 3 at once. The guitar has 3 volumes, 1 master tone, set to all. You can use the independent volumes to dial in each pickup. 3 okay, yeah, 3. Okay. In a super useful wiring setup. The guitar is in excellent condition. It's a very old stock model. Vintage original spec. I think it's vintage original spec.
Vintage original spec. I prefer very old stuff.
So it has some light patina, new from the factory. The gold parts look a bit more oxidized now. And there's some light signs of play. Ryan, did you know that gold hardware doesn't patina? It actually just wears down.
Right, it's gold. Apparently, it's real gold.
It's real gold.
This is a big problem on the internet recently. Another thing I don't care about. I just know that I don't like the way that gold hardware wears most of the time.
Blah, blah, blah. Lifton case, specially designed for this run. Does come with a COA and the original custom care kit for 11. Oh, so it is that split V.
It's that split. It's like the modern headstock.
Yeah. I'm down with that.
I am really down with it too. I like that a lot. If you're going to have a Gibson headstock and have it on a weird guitar, might as well go with the weird Gibson headstock. If I ever get a custom shop Gibson, a VOS, a very old stuff guitar, I'll probably be looking at that. I'd probably be looking at that funky headstock. Yeah, give me the weird one. I don't care what it does to tuning stability. I just want it to look weird, like a weird shark head. I'd put little teeth on it. But the thing that made me stop and look at this thing. What made you stop, Ryan? The audacity of putting a Telecaster blade switch on a Les Paul, not just using it because they're trying to get a 4-way. It's a 4-way Telecaster blade switch.
Yeah.
But how they mounted it, so it's functionally in the same place as a Les Paul switch on the upper bout up there, on that upper hump. But it's just a Fender style blade switch going vertical.
I think it's a 4-way.
It is a 4-way. It's each pickup individually and then all on. So you can't even do neck and bridge together.
Well, if you did, no, you can do neck and bridge together if you go all on and then roll the volume off the middle pickup.
Okay, all right. You got to do a trick.
Yeah, it's very versatile.
Yeah, you got to do a trick.
The thing that threw me off about this is it's got a dot inlay rosewood fretboard, and I was like, that doesn't seem like a very Gibson thing to me. But apparently in the 50s, that's at least the rosewood fretboard. That's what they had. I don't know when they introduced it.
I knew there were dot Les Pauls.
I know there's dot.
I don't even care about Gibson, and I knew that.
I know there's dot Les Pauls. I was just, again, I was like this is like a studio neck, but
I know, but also
I was expecting an ebony fretboard, but that wasn't a thing in 1958.
There is whoever commissioned this or
no, Gibson commissioned.
Oh, right. Whoever decided that this was going to exist, they probably had the temptation to do anything that they wanted to do. They're like, oh, we could have done like a crazy inlay on this fretboard.
Yeah.
We could have done like a picture of, like Captain Ahab, spearing the white whale for some reason. Like they could have done some sort of like what Martin does every year for NAMM. It was just
like the million and 2 million and
they could have done the craziest stuff on this, and they did 2 crazy things. Like 3 pickups it's not unheard of. I wouldn't call it crazy, but it's you see it enough that it's not a surprise.
I mean, that switch is pretty crazy,
the
right?
switch is crazy.
Crazy!
And going for that headstock on a Les Paul is wild. It feels like it needs a third thing to balance it out. They could have gone with some sort of ornate abalone, pearl shell, diamond, gold, whatever, filigree across
they should have
fretboard.
Just full ass kieseled this thing out. Abalone dots,
quilted
abalone
flames,
blocks, quilted Carina, flame green,
LED smoke machines, LCD screens, so you can watch Pimp My Ride on the back of your guitar.
I heard you like guitars, so we made you a guitar out of guitars.
I'm just saying, for like the couple things on this that are wild, and it's an expensive guitar, the rest of it is fairly subdued.
Ryan.
Dot inlays on a rosewood fingerboard. There's not even any binding.
Right.
Well, there's binding on the body, which I think is very classy. Yeah. But it's like, it's Carina, but it's not like a sexy piece of wood. But like it's handsome.
I hear you, but the thing is that for Gibson people, Carina is the sexiest piece of wood.
Which is so wild.
Like that's the peak.
Right. Nothing's better than Carina.
It's like just how Stratocaster people are like it, swamp ash.
What is Carina's real species again? Because I know Carina is just a marketing term.
Black Limba, I think.
Black Limba.
Is
that special in some way tonally?
I think it's I think it's lightweight.
Okay.
And I think it's just that Gibson only ran it for
it's rare.
A very limited run.
It's a rare wood.
Yeah. Well, or at least its utility for like mass production runs is. I know some like Hamer did Carina.
Yeah.
Other brands have done Carina.
Every brand does Carina here and there.
Yeah, but nobody does it as like a permanent thing.
They try to make it special.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
I think it's a handsome guitar. I like the weird features. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling much more positive about this $10,000 guitar than the $3,000 one that only had 1 pickup. I mean, it's 3 times the price. It's got 3 times the pickups.
It's a good deal.
And at least one of the pickups I'm way more likely to use. So
the bridge pickup?
The pickup to knob to price ratio is there. Is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
And I'm not looking at this wishing it had less strings, like the one from last week.
I remember you made that joke, and I don't remember.
I watched the episode yesterday. Weren't you there? Didn't you watch it too?
Sort
of. And you were just paying attention to the chat. Okay.
I was working, so but sometimes.
All right, say no more.
Sometimes I have it on my phone, and I am literally just watching the chat with the volume off because I'm working. I'm on a phone.
That's not a surprise. Steve doesn't listen to my demos.
I thought you were talking about the podcast episode.
I don't know. Sometimes you were in the demo chat.
Yeah, that's true.
You're probably at work doing the same thing.
Sometimes I'm listening and sometimes I'm not. It's true.
All right, what's next, Steve?
Ryan, I don't have a good transition for this one.
You usually don't.
But normally I have a bad transition.
Okay.
This time I have no transition. But we want to take a moment to thank the Patreons.
Yes.
Patreons. I hear some people say that it really annoys them that people who support through Patreon are called Patreons instead of just patrons.
Let's call them Hummers. That's not enough. We need to let people know where to go. So patrons, you want patrons. It's spelled different than patron.
Yeah, you want to head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support like these folks do at the $5 level. Earl Patchett. Earl's been in a few chats of the premieres lately in the whatever. And I've also been seeing him in other gear chats that I've been in. So he's in a few different places.
I got it. He's a guitar tube junkie.
Yeah.
A guitar tube groupie.
Yikes. And then Liam.
I just said that and we just lost him. He's like, I'm pulling my patronage.
Liam Lega. Is it Lega? I'm going to go with Lega. leggy.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
At the dollar level, and one of these is $1.50. I forget which one, but it's the dollar level is Sean Kirkham and Jack Rainier Pryor. So thanks, folks. This, of course, pays for dinner on podcast night for our families and RJ.
And it also covers the cost of hiring RJ to do the short edits. Yeah. It also covers the cost of gear that we need. Like the camera's doing a weird thing. Hopefully this episode survives. Yeah. It's doing this blink every now and then that I haven't seen before. And I was just filming earlier today. I filmed for like 3 hours earlier today and I didn't see that. So who knows? Maybe there's a new camera in our future. It takes a lot of, fuel to keep the fission reactor down in the core of the orbiter going, guys. And, when the trillionaires stop funding us, we're going to have to figure things out on our own up here. And that's going to come out of the Patreon's funds as well. So we're very thankful for all of you keeping us alive up here in orbit.
Yep.
In the distant future, I hope. Hopefully the trillionaires don't abandon us up here is all I'm saying. But when they do, you guys will be keeping us alive.
Yep. Ryan. Yeah. You should ask me what's new.
What's new,
I want to go
Steve?
First. I traded my
horse trading. I like it.
My Roadrunner case for this MXR Super Badass Distortion.
Oh.
And let me tell you, this is a pretty badass distortion.
Well, yeah, it says super right next to badass, so it's going to be pretty badass.
It's
output, distortion, bass, mid, and treble.
Yeah, it's like a Marshall in a box with a 3-band EQ. So it's pretty cool. It sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I'm going to hold on to it because I'm kind of a rat boy.
He's a rat boy.
I'm just rat, even though.
And you don't think that's ratty enough for you?
It's funny.
You said it's a Marshall in a box. Have you tried running a rat into your Marshall in a box?
Oh, I probably should. The funny thing is because it has the mid and treble, you can like scoop the mids and boost the treble, and then it kind of sounds like a rat in some ways. And the thing about I found with rats is rat pedals kind of all sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't always sound the same.
Well, you found that out by collecting so many of them, Steve.
I have an original Rat 2, like an old one.
Uh-huh.
And then I now have 2 woodcutters.
Here's what you should do. You should pare down your collection, weed out some redundancies, and you should do some gear math, and you should turn those rats that you're about to sell and discard on our sponsor.
I don't know if I'm going to sell any of my rats.
I'm saying that you should, and you should turn at least one of them into a big box vintage.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
Just so you can have it.
That'd be pretty cool. That's something to think about.
Take a bunch of rats from your modern collection, and you should invest in having a vintage one. Go spend $600 on a rat. But why not? You already did a bunch of times.
The guy I traded this to was a local guy, obviously, because I'm holding it, and we met up at the courthouse. And I parked illegally.
You broke the law at the courthouse?
I blocked in his car, but
at least it wasn't the FBI building.
He told me to block in his car. So I guess if the cops came, maybe he said he worked at the courthouse or he was at the courthouse. So I don't know.
That sounds like entrapment.
I don't know if he was maybe a lawyer, perhaps.
He's like, don't worry, I break the law all the time.
Or maybe he's like, don't worry, I can get you off the hook. I don't know.
Judge.
I don't really know.
Man, there needs to be a tone judge show.
But he was, it's interesting.
Those pedals are out of order.
He was telling me he's got a bunch of pedals just sitting around just so when he sees something he wants on Facebook Marketplace, he can message the seller and be like, hey, I got some pedals. You want some?
Ah, there you go.
Which is pretty smart. It's one way to go. Ryan, do you have anything new?
Oh, man. I got that Gretsch over there that I'm figuring out how to point at. I'm pretty excited about that. I published a demo last week, but trying to think of anything new.
I got another thing new if you don't.
Tell me about your other new thing.
Ryan, I won my very first copyright dispute.
Hell yeah! Woo!
So a few months ago.
And he did it
for you.
In defense of me.
Yeah, a few months ago.
To protect my honor.
Some total dipshit on TikTok ripped your Rickenbacker like
one of them, because I had like 8 of them.
Yeah, it's the one where you are like pulling on the neck and then it like reverses.
Yeah.
And he posted on TikTok, and for whatever reason, that video has done very poorly for you, and it does very good for everyone else who steals it. So he takes it and he slaps this caption on it that says like, when you give your guitar to a Guitar Center tech, which like, that's pretty rough.
There's a joke there. Like it clearly worked because he was getting tons of views.
And so it's getting all these views, and you jumped on and were like, hey man, this is my video.
You could have at least, my whole point to him was, hey, you could have at least tagged me in the official framework that TikTok allows. We're like, oh, hey, that's a funny video. I'm going to turn it into a thing by clicking either the share or the duet or whatever it is. So the original creator, it links back to them.
Yeah, or at least like throw a tag in there.
He just fully lifted it and claimed it as his own. Yeah. So I went a little bit Bugs Bunny on him. I was like, you know, I was dicking with Elmer Fudd for the day.
Yeah.
Basically, because he had this big blow up at me because like, hey man, you could have at least done this. And he got all indignant about it. And so I just like leaned back and had some fun with him. But then
he blocked you.
This is like 6 months later or something like that.
It shows up. So a friend of the show,
because this was back in the summer.
Yeah. A friend of the show sent me the video.
Dude, so my wife was getting texted by like old family friends that were like, oh my gosh, we just saw Ryan in a video.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely didn't help.
We didn't know Ryan made videos, like family friends from
because it was like a public post.
Right.
Once I started commenting on it, it was pinging into like every other person who's I'm friends with in the gear community. We're starting to see it too, and also we're all just commenting on it like, "Hey, this is Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum. This isn't anyone." And this is one of these aggregation channels.
There were a ton of people in the comments that were like, "Hey, why haven't you tagged the creator of the thing that you're clearly making money off of?"
Yeah. So friend of the show, Jose, sent this to me, and I was like, huh. And their credit for it was to the fucking TikTok guy who stole it.
This double stolen.
And then
this thing's going to outlive me.
And then I basically sent them a message and said, hey, this is the 60 Cycle Hum video. Here's a link. Here's our to our Facebook page. Can you fix the caption? I think like 24 hours, 40 hours go by. I see
1 million views go by.
I literally about another 1 million views go in. And I literally I'm not exaggerating these numbers. And I see that they've read it. Cause you know, on like on Meta, when something's read it, your icon moves down. So I saw that and I was just like, okay, so they've read it. I let another 24 hours go by because I just didn't have time to work on it. And then I just did a copyright claim through Facebook.
It's like that stuff it sits there existing for a reason.
Yeah. I was like, here's my link. And I wrote like, I've asked them for credit and they didn't do anything. Now, getting the video pulled down at over 3 million views was not my goal.
Steve's goal
my hope was that this was a revenue earning page, which it probably is. And that this would force them into a revenue share, because I know
Steve was trying to make those money.
I know, Meta Reels, that kind of thing does not pay great. The numbers aren't good. It doesn't pay
zero.
But it doesn't pay zero. I'm guessing 3 million views probably is somewhere in the like $200 to $300 range.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I would have, it would have just been a nice little fill out this form, get a couple $100. But
I would be
but Facebook just deleted it instead.
I would be happy with an @ tag. If people want to remix that stuff, I'm inviting the actual sincere audience, the actual true audience of this channel and this content that we make. If you want to remix my stuff, our stuff from the show, you want to make little memes out of it and stuff, GIFs, whatever you want to do, like go for it. Just tag us. Just do attribution back to us the way that things are supposed to work on these social media things. Just do the normal thing. Don't steal and then like crop out like logos or whatever. Yeah. Or like I've been tagged a couple times or sent links where people like, oh man, this company on Temu is using your video and blurring out your face. Well, like, don't do stuff like that.
Do you remember the one? It was this effects company that you did a demo for that had a pedal that looked like a PlayStation controller or Super Nintendo controller or something. And they took the video.
I think that was MVave.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but they put it on Amazon, I think. but they cut it up as to make it, and like
to make it seem like it was positive.
They put the captions, and then I think they just took a little bit of your audio, but didn't put anything where you were saying anything, because I'm pretty sure in that video you were like, "This pedal sucks."
Yeah,
and it sounds bad.
I didn't understand the reason for that thing existing.
And they cut it, and they cut it up, and I think I left a comment on it. I was saying like, nothing in this video is true. If you watch the actual video, all he does is say how bad it is.
It was. If you want to make low bit sounds, like it looks like a video game controller. Yeah. Like if you want a low bit reverb, there you go.
Yeah. But 100% I was on the same page as you. Like if they would have, when I sent the message out and said, "Hey, can you change the caption on this?" If they would have been like, "Oh, sorry, we just found this on TikTok," I'd have been like, "Cool, just change the caption."
If the original guy on TikTok had just tagged me, I would have been tickled pink. Like, "Oh yeah, hey, fun remix. Fun remix."
But hey, you know what? We got 3-point-something million views out of this, and at least a handful of redirects to the original video. And I kind of figured, like, at that point, like, it's run its course. So if it gets pulled down by copyright, who cares?
Oh, we're gonna be doing all this again in 6 months.
I know. I hope so. Ryan.
Yeah, let's do the last
ad. Whoops.
Which one is it? We're doing the Smokey Amps?
The Smokey Amps. This
do you remember these things?
Nick Carter.
Okay. Before you look,
I do remember
how much. Wait, no. I'm trying to ask you something here, Steve.
Ask me. They were $20.
They were. That's what I was going to ask. How much do you think they're asking for this? You can look at this picture.
So this is one of. So I think the ones that I remember, which were not these. The ones that I remember were either $20 or $30. My guess is they're asking like $200 for this. $139.56.
Not 200, but
it is in the UK, and it did sell.
I did screen grab some reverb listings, and it's all over the map. There's one for $249. There's one for $90, one for $100, another one for $250.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was a collector's market for these. I remember selling them at Guitar Trader, and it was like $20. They were a novelty.
Were they in the cigarette boxes when you saw them?
Yeah.
I've never seen them. Excuse me. I didn't even know that they made them in cigarette boxes until like a couple months ago.
Well, I think later on they sold it as like, oh, you can do it as a kit. When you take this thing and you slide it into a cigarette box.
So this one here, Smokey Amps mini amplifier, 9-volt battery operated. That's brand new for $90. These are the ones that I remember, or this green one. That's
right. The plastic cover.
The plastic clear covers. That's what I think of.
That's what's inside. That's what's inside of the cigarette box. I remember either they sold them this way, or the Guitar Trader employees were putting them in their own old cigarette packs.
They originally sold them in the cigarette packs.
So is that the collectability thing?
Phil McKnight was talking about it. So these are the older ones. These are like
people are literally up paying for a plastic amp that comes in trash. Yeah. It just comes in vintage cigarette trash.
Now the whole thing with this is you plug it in and it's got like a throughput. So I guess your other output can go into an amp, and you can use this as like an overdrive or something.
Yeah, it's exactly like that little Dan Electro Food Series speaker pedal.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have a foot switch.
Yeah.
It's
always on.
It's always on. It's the same thing. There's no amazing technology here. It's a 9-volt transistor battery amp that can act like a distortion. But like, I was floored when I saw that they wanted $139 for that thing. Yeah. And then I looked at the reverb listing, sponsor of the show, click the links. I looked at the reverb listing and I still can't believe it. If there's a collector's market for these that commands these prices, there's a collector's market for everything, apparently.
Well, I think, this is getting into...
Do I have to save every piece of trash that passes through my life?
There's a specific sort of weird...
This is the equivalent of Klon prices. It costs 10 times more than it did new. And this is only 20 years ago.
Yeah.
These aren't vintage. They're barely 20 years old.
But I think this kind of fits into like...
it's not like it's Crystal Pepsi.
I think they're
cigarettes. They still sell Marlboros and Camels.
But do they look like that?
Probably.
Ryan,
you don't mess with the branding that people are addicted to. Are you kidding?
When
you don't mix up that recipe.
So one that we have a picture of
the only
is
time
actually interesting.
Cigarette companies change their packaging is when the government makes them.
Yeah, this is a 1990s tiny. It's a 1999. It says 20. What's a Class A cigarette? What does that mean? I have no idea. Ryan, here's my question.
I don't smoke. I've never been a smoker, but cigarettes have got to be one of those things where if you've got your brand and you're used to, tapping it, and rolling it in your sleeve, you're a greaser apparently from the 1950s. That's what I think of cigarette smokers, but you're used to your ritual with it, whatever the physical interaction is. Yeah. If they so much as change the cardboard that's inside of the packaging, it's going to change your ritual and it's going to throw you off your game. And now you're jumping brands. You know that they can't change anything about them. So this is Marlboro box right now is probably exactly the same as it was 20 years ago.
Well, aside from the government stuff, you're right.
Right.
Here's my question for you. Do you feel like you know enough about cigarette brands to say what kind of Little Smoky cigarette pack has the best tones for any given genre?
Oh, I thought you were going to say best resale value.
No.
Best tones. I don't know how it's probably Marlboro is probably the go-to for most people. That's just your Marshall.
Exactly. I think Marlboro is, if you're doing like a lot of people are doing the blues thing or but though, I kind of go both ways on this. Marlboro, I think is like if you want to do the Skinner thing, you're doing Marlboros probably.
All right.
But if you want to do like a blues like
please don't be racist with this.
No, I've already played that through my head and I'm not going to do that one.
We're not touching it.
But what I'm going to say is this goes in two directions. For both blues and yacht rock, you got to go with Newports. But maybe for yacht rock, you can also go with Virginia Slims.
Yacht rock is probably Virginia. I love that we have, because we're the last generation.
Yeah.
That just got blasted with cigarette marketing in our youth. And so we have like actual solid impressions of what each brand represents.
What I can't peg to a genre is Camels. I've been trying to figure out Camels for a couple minutes. Camels,
but it's like the unfiltered Camels, and it's just like people who are big into magnetones.
Magnetones. Now, cloves and
honestly, Camel is probably Fender.
Cloves and blacks and those kinds of things. Not exactly cigarettes, but cigarillos. Those are all your pop punk cigarettes.
All right.
And of course, if you want the best tone,
Line 6's vapes.
Line 6's vapes. If you want the best tone, you got to go with American Spirits. American Spirits are going to have the best tone.
Okay, well, here's the real question, Steve. Based on all the branding, because I've never known you to be a smoker.
I'm not a smoker.
I've never seen Steve smoke a cigarette in my life. Have I ever seen you smoke a cigar or anything like that?
I've smoked a cigar at your house.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Like bachelor party stuff.
Bachelor party or baby. We used to have dad parties.
Yeah, that didn't survive our second borns.
Yeah.
Having a firstborn made you too responsible to do that sort of stuff again. But here's what I want to know, Steve. Based on all the branding that's been just beat into our heads over the course of our youth.
Sure.
What cigarette brand would represent your tone?
My tone?
Like what cigarette brand would represent your personal brand as a guitarist?
Oh my gosh.
What if you were going to wear a shirt on stage that represented who you are as a guitarist? Like what brand are you going with? You're going to tuck a cigarette behind your low E as you play. What brand is that going to be?
I don't know, man.
I think I'm a Lucky Strike guy.
Oh, Lucky Strike. That's a good call. That's
kind of like, my impression is it's kind of like the Pabst of cigarettes.
Yeah. I don't know if I have one. For laughs, isn't there one that's like,
you'd go with Cool.
Paul.
Steve would smoke Cools.
Oh,
like Pall Mall or whatever it is?
Yeah, Pall Mall. No, I think mine would probably be like blacks. Like there's some kind of clove thing.
I could see that.
I don't know.
We're going to get flagged by whatever government agency is left that, take, is it the ATF? They handle tobacco.
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
That's them. We're going to get flagged by the ATF. We're going to be the first guitar podcast to get taken down by the ATF because we talk theoretically about cigarettes.
I feel like that, yeah.
For 10
cigarette
minutes.
Tone.
Don't buy one of these things for none of these prices are reasonable. None of them. $90, $89. One of the plastic cases that doesn't have the amp in it is $10. Don't even buy that. I'm sure there's some cheap 9-volt battery amp out there that you can get for way cheaper, and it will sound exactly the same. There might even be one that'll fit inside a cigarette.
This brand still exists, and the classic
$50 new
polycarbonate is $50 new. And
why are people buying? I don't believe that the vintage ones are better.
They've got clear, they've got red, they've got blue.
Look at all the colors they've got.
They got blue sparkle, green sparkle, purple sparkle, black sparkle.
Go on eBay, see how much you can get a vintage Marlboro box for.
Now, what you need to do is you need to take you need to get a Marlboro. What's the box? Is it a case?
I forget what those are called.
What's the big thing called? And then you just put a bunch of these amps in there and link them all together.
Oh my gosh.
What's that called?
That brand. They should come out with a full size one that's got two speakers in it and a full it's not a lot. It'll still only have like 3 knobs, but it'll have knobs.
Yeah.
They should totally come out with that.
So Smokey Amps are made by Zinke, and Bruce Zinke, I think it's Bruce Zinke is the guy's name. Is it Bruce? There's so many Zinkes.
This is the first time I've heard that name.
Zinke is one of the legendary amp builders.
Okay.
Like as in like a Bruce Egnator.
He's one of the boys.
He used to have a brand. Yeah, Bruce Zinke. I think he was a Zinke era. He was like a Fender or he did like Supro amps. I'm looking at different things he did. Now there's anyone know how to reach Bruce Zinke, but he is a legendary amp builder.
And he made these things.
And he also made these things. So
maybe there's some secret sauce to these that I don't know about.
I think the Lil Smokey was just a really cool, fun.
It's a clever product.
It was what do you call it? It was a impulse item at a guitar store.
It's a clever product for $20 in 1999. It's a clever product for $50 in 2025. It is not a clever product for $250 on Reverb.
Yeah. Or even $99.
Don't.
Just
buy a new one.
Just get your own.
I've heard them before. It's not like I don't know what they sound like. I know what they sound like. They sound like a 9-volt battery amp. And there's a lot of those on the market.
I think it's a case. Anyway, what I was going to say is the joke I was going to make is, with the price of a pack of cigarettes these days, Ryan, it might actually just be cheaper to buy one of the $99 ones.
How much are cigarettes now? I have no idea.
I don't know either.
When I worked in the grocery industry, I say that I was a bagger. The industry. I was in the industry, guys. I was a bagger and I pushed carts. Got me through college. Bought all my books and gas. I remember them being $6, $7, $8 a thing. Cigarettes have always seemed really expensive to me. That's probably why I don't smoke. If they were cheap, I probably would have taken it up.
According to worldpopulationreview.com, the average price of a pack of cigarettes in the state of California is $11.71.
Holy moly!
For one pack. The most expensive state is New York. It's $14.55 per pack. That is,
I'm going to say it's cheaper to smoke meats.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is taxes.
You really got to want to smoke, and that's why they fill it up with nicotine.
Thanks. Thank you for that insight, Ryan. We still need to do an Adventurers Club.
Oh, yeah. Who won this dang thing?
Well,
we had the Little Smokey, which we talked about a lot. We had the Hex Girls, and we had the Crazy LP.
Man, I think Crazy LP is out for me.
Me too.
It's out.
I don't know. Kind of going a Little Smokey.
I was thinking
there was a lot of tread on that tire.
I thought you were going to go with Hex Girls because you really seemed like you were very interested.
Well, it's fun to talk about cartoons.
I thought she seemed like you really want to talk about your Google searches.
Oh my gosh,
Hex Girls.
I didn't use the same browser you have, apparently. There's just a lot of fan art is all I'm saying.
So we just,
which tells me that there's potentially way more fan art that I didn't see.
Yeah. So we just want to go with the Smokey Amps.
I think so. That's where I'm landing.
All right. Well, who sent that in?
Nick Carter.
Congratulations, Nick Carter.
Has Nick won before?
Nick has
like
won before. Okay. He was winning a lot last year, actually.
Welcome to 2025.
Yeah.
Year of Joey. You've bested Joey, Nick. That's no small accomplishment. You should feel proud of yourself.
This week's song.
We should give more money to everyone but Joey. Like every time someone beats Joey, we should give him more money. I'm not saying we're going to
just incentivize it. I need to send Joey his gift card for.
How about a sticker that says "I beat Joey"?
But then I have to send a gift card and do shipping.
That's true. That's true.
When
is who's Spring? Teespring. When is Teespring going to make it easy for us to give shirts away?
Dude, Teespring, we got another complaint, right? Well, let's talk about this next episode because I do want to address.
It was from the same person.
Is it the same person?
Yeah,
I thought it was a different person.
No, I think it's the same person following up.
Okay,
it's the same email again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have nothing to do with it. I'm sorry that you didn't get your shirt. When I looked into it a month and a half ago, they still had your shirt labeled as printing. They're out of stock of your shirt. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what's going on with that. This song is from Matt from Blue Light Special. He says, "Hey gents, here's a tune from our band's latest EP called Fear."
We've got stuff from Blue Light Special before. I recognize that name.
Keys were done with a Yamaha Reface CP, whatever that means. And our bass player got a really nice blend of fuzzes on the outro. It's on all the major streaming platforms, which probably means it'll get demonetized for us, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Enjoy your $3 or $4.
Yeah.
Or available to download for free on our Bandcamp. Blue Light Special. The song is called Fear.
It's getting late to remediate all of the things we've both grown to hate. You can amputate me at the joint, cut your nose off to make your point, but you're still filled with fear. All of the things that made you went up in flames with the truth. What did you think you were gonna do? There's a common thread to the narrative. If you had known, you would have left. Imagine a new family, a whole bunch of kids and no me, but you still live fear. All of the things we tried to shake crashed to the ground in your wake, struck by the sound that karma makes. It rings like a bell, and it permeates. If you had known, you would have left.
What are your thoughts, Steve?
I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that Pink Floydish solo at the end.
I was picking up some Crash Test Dummies vibes in there, just with the voice turned up, 3 or 4 octaves. Like it's that kind of. Sorry, I didn't mean to touch you there.
That's the thing that somebody's going to gif.
Right. There's the gif right there. Mix that up. RJ, do your worst on that, apparently. There's something about the song structure of it and the mood of it that had me thinking about Crash Test Dummies. And now I want to listen to Crash Test Dummies. So if that was your goal, you have achieved great success. I will now be listening to Crash Test Dummies later. I'm going to show my kids that one song. All right. Thanks for sending your songs. Thanks for watching the whole show and getting to the end of this dang thing. Thanks for being a sponsor. If the sponsors are watching right now, who else should we thank, Steve? Thank you, Tony, for steering the ship while we were distracted making our dumb little show down here.
Thanks to Patreon.
Thanks to the trillionaires who put us up into space and won't let us go home except for on the weekends.
Thanks to Summer School Electronics so I can have clothes.
Thanks to Nam. I'm wearing your shirt today. Thanks to Koti Han for making the burritos that we eat every other week. And thank you to our wives and our family for missing us and taking care of our homes while we're in space. Bye.
Stay grounded.